In this project, we'll use a button to toggle between two single-color LED lights. To do that, we'll need a variable to keep track of how many times the button has been pressed. To create a variable, we first type what type of variable it is. We're going to use an integer, so we type int, and an integer variable just is whole numbers. It doesn't use any decimal places in its value. Next, we name the variable. I name mine press count because that's what this variable is going to do. Count the presses on the button. Then we use an equal sign and give the variable a starting value. We're going to start this with 0. Within the void setup function, use the pin mode function to set port 6 as an input pull-up. That's where your button's plugged in. And then use two more pin mode functions to set ports 2 and 13 as outputs. That's where your single color LEDs will be plugged in. Inside the void loop function, the first thing we see is an if statement. The if statement has two key parts. Between its parentheses is a condition that's checked by the code, and between its curly braces are the actions that run when the condition is true. So here, the condition is if the reading from port 6 is low, and because we have a button set as an input pull-up, a low signal will come into the code when the button is pressed. And if that's true, the code between the curly braces will run. And here, that means that press count plus plus will run, and that plus plus means that press count will add 1 to its value. So if press count started at 0, when press count plus plus runs, it will equal 1. The delay of 250 milliseconds allows you to release your finger from the button without a single press being counted multiple times. Next, we'll check another if statement, and the condition here is if press count equals 1. If that's true, the code between the curly braces will run, and those are digital write functions. The first has an argument of 2 for the port number and high for the status, so that's going to turn on LED 2. The second digital write function has arguments of 13 and low, so it will turn off port 13. If the condition of the if statement is not true, those actions are going to be skipped, and the code is instead going to run the actions of the else statement. So if press count is anything other than 1, then we want to digital write port 13 high, digital write port 2 low, and reset the press count variable value equal to 0. So if the condition is true, that press count equals 1, turn on 2, turn off 13. Otherwise, turn on 13 and turn off 2 and reset press count. When the code reaches the closing curly brace of the void loop, it will go back to the top of the void loop and check the digital read of port 6 again. Because we only have this delay of 250 milliseconds inside the actions of the if statement, this loop is going to run really fast, especially if you're not pressing the button. If you are pressing the button, the loop is still going to run in about 1/4 of a second. So you can press the button really quickly and toggle your LED colors back and forth.